right. Welcome to The Discourse, the podcast that has hot food takes,
Cool food people,
and never a lukewarm moment.
I'm Chef Renee. I direct an R&D test kitchen, and I think that dessert breakfast is totally acceptable in the summer. Give me ice cream on waffles,
Yes.
a popsicle
Yes.
in my iced
Yes.
coffee. It is seasonal self-care.
yes.
100%.
I'm Cali, trends expert nutritionist, and if we're talking about some controversial takes about summer foods, I will admit that I am somebody who wants my marshmallow burnt, stick it in the fire,
Yes.
I want it flaming.
Yes, agreed.
Yes, I'm here for it.
I'm here for that too.
All right.
And my name is Chef Cam. I manage a team of R&D chefs. And speaking of more controversial opinions, and as someone from Chicago, the only time ketchup is acceptable on a hot dog is if it's during a backyard barbecue.
I disagree with that because always ketchup on a hot dog. If it doesn't have ketchup, I don't want
The
it.
National Hot Dog Council announced that ketchup is
That's
not
right.
an
That's
acceptable condiment for
That's
ketchup.
not a real thing.
And it's like, it is a
It
real
is.
thing. And how you get on it, I don't know. So if the
What?
National Hot Dog Council is listening now, please, whatever I got to do, I'll do it to get there. So if you're new here, we are a podcast where we dish and debate on the latest food trends and fads. Today, we're going to talk all things summer before we go on our little summer vacation break.
Woo.
And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Cali.
Okay. So, in light of a slightly shorter episode, but in an effort, so today, instead of Guess That Operator, where we normally guess what operator the story's about, we're doing Guess That Food. So, in an effort to get consumers' foots in the door with something that has broad appeal and can then maybe translate to additional specialty or summer LTO purchases, popular operators like McDonald's, Taco Bell, Sonic, Popeyes, and more have all announced launches of this familiar item as we get ready for the summer. And while their versions obviously all differ slightly, I almost felt like it was worth calling out because it feels so normal. But yet all of them have been hyping up these launches. And I think as we get into our conversation, which is particularly about even more snacks on menus for that perfect, flexible, anytime summer day part, it does make sense. But I have to say that the hype around it is making me want to go out of my way to try these menu items. And I think it also, in part, largely, this might be a big hint, is driven by an effort to stay competitive with our big player, McDonald's.
Is it pies?
No.
Is it chicken tenders?
Yes. So chicken strips or chicken snack wraps.
Okay, snack
okay.
wraps.
Yeah.
July 10th,
Yes.
baby.
Yeah,
it's coming
it's
back.
coming back.
We are here
You're
for
right.
it. That's right.
The
I
world
come
is
back.
ready.
Yeah. Yes.
I've actually
Yes.
never had one of the McDonald's chicken snack wraps. So
They're good.
Again,
They
I
hit.
will have to go out of my way. But like all of these operators are like, we're launching, drum roll, chicken strips. And you're like,
It's like, why?
okay.
And they're calling them chicken strips and not chicken tenders.
Yeah.
So if you haven't listened to our chicken episode, we
Yep.
talk all things about different types of chicken and what they are called. And chicken tenders are not chicken strips. So
Yeah.
I think a chicken strip can even still be chopped and formed.
You think
I don't know if
so?
that's totally true or if it has to be full muscle, but tenders definitely have like a certain part of the chicken and a whole muscle protein.
Yes.
So I don't know.
All right. Well,
Cam, do you know? Sorry.
Maybe I fell asleep during the meat ID portion of my class when we were talking about chicken.
also, it didn't make the cut, but I did see that Sonic is also launching a pickle menu this summer.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Which was interesting to me. I was like,
It's
is
in
it going to give
collaboration with Grillo's.
Yeah, they're giving Popeyes a run for their money. Okay, so our bread service, setting us up for this conversation, our context. So summer is arguably, I would say, one of the most nostalgic, exciting times of year. The weather's great, the days are longer, there's more opportunities to socialize and be outside. But people are traveling more, they're vacationing more. We know that 62% of consumers in 2025 actually said that they already have a trip or vacation planned of some sort. And that 32% of consumers actually say that they choose their destination based on the food in that destination. So a lot more exposure to different kinds of regional foods that we know consumers are really looking for. But a couple things in terms of what is on menus and flavors on menus. We do know that about half of consumers do associate the summer season with special flavors and dishes. So they are looking for those things on menus. We saw over 1,100 new launches last summer, which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
We're still seeing this demand for bold and spicy flavors. Consumers want something unique. It's a lot of what we've talked about through the season. So, but kind of just in a slightly different context. And I think specifically when we think about the nostalgic flavors that show up during the summertime, again, it really is kind of whether it's that light and refreshing fruit flavor or those indulgent like s'mores flavors. I feel like summer flavors are so deeply rooted in bringing people back to their childhood for whatever reason, more so than other seasons. Maybe that's just me. But we're going to talk through some different trends like fun drinks that we're seeing on menus and also some light bites that are perfect for sharing outside, maybe on a rooftop. But that's where we're at today. So I did want to start by asking you guys, what is the flavor or dish that immediately comes to mind when you think of summer?
S'mores. S'mores. It's always s'mores. And I never get, like, I love the nostalgia trend because I've seen so many different versions of s'mores.
Yeah.
But then even, like, Shake Shack launched a s'mores milkshake. And I had it. It was amazing. I will never get tired of that combo because I feel like it gives chocolate without getting too chocolatey.
Yes. I like that.
Too chocolatey? I don't know her.
No, there's such thing.
No,
There's such thing.
I don't know about
yes,
that,
there is.
Cam.
Yes, there is.
But also it's interesting because the s'mores flavor profile is not something I go out of my way for. Like, I don't need a marshmallow flavor, but like a true s'more with like the gooey marshmallow, I'm all over it. Yeah, burnt.
What about you, Cam?
For me, it has to be any tropical fruit flavor. Like growing up, like just Asian household, like end of dinner, there would always just be some type of fruit, specifically mangoes, cut kind of like you cross hatch it, and then you make it like a flower.
Out. Yeah, that's the best.
But then specifically, like if we're talking about like a dish, like summer, obviously always meant just like hanging out with friends. I lived in a cul-de-sac, so it was like super convenient to just have like friends over. And one of my
perfect
friends,
American dream.
I know, I also grew up in a cul-de-sac, Cam.
like one of my friends growing up, he was Mexican, and that was like my first like introduction to a mangonada was growing up like way back when.
Amazing.
So the fact that like we're starting to see mangonada pop up, it just makes me happy because it just brings me back to like when I was like 10. Just like sitting with like a bunch of my friends with like a mangonada that was made in like a plastic cup with just like a popsicle stick. It's
So you're
just
an
like
OG mangonada lover.
Yeah, you really are.
Before
And
its
when I was
time.
10 years old in my cul-de-sac, we were like eating nothing because it was Ohio and like you had like graham crackers.
Did you guys
and, like,
ever
a
have
Bosco
like
stick.
a lemonade stand?
I
So
never
we
did
didn't-
that.
We never did lemonade stands, but we did take a magnifying glass and melt crayons and give kids tattoos. And that got shut down by
That's
moms
so
in the
on
neighborhood.
brand, Renee. It's painful. That is
Just hot water.
outrageous.
yeah, you know, it's
I was definitely the girl set up on the side of the road with the lemonade stand, convinced that the money I made from that stand was going to then translate to me funding the in-ground pool that my parents could build in our backyard.
25 cents a cup, maybe. I don't know.
Committed. It was
know?
gonna happen. But okay, in terms of some of the things we're seeing on menus, circling back here. But so summer is really that time of year where like you want those light and refreshing things. So I feel like mango, great call out, but like also we're seeing the use of fruit beyond. I mean, we know that consumers are increasingly wanting those sweet and salty or sweet and savory, sweet and spicy flavor profiles, but I feel like we're seeing the use of these fresh fruits like strawberries and peaches are obviously a huge one. We just saw I actually just saw Chick-fil-A just brought back their peach milkshake for the 16th year in a row. It's like, wow, Chick-fil-A Sweet 16 peach milkshake. But we're seeing those ingredients being incorporated into so many different things on the menu, whether that's like salads or different like shareable small plates. I know I always love me a shareable small plate, but like particularly when you're sitting outside and just hanging with some friends and you just want to like pick at stuff. Have you seen anything on menus that is either in shareable plate form or just like menu call outs in general that are really leaning into that peach flavor for summer?
Yeah. KFC just launched that Mountain Dew peach dirty soda.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see Mountain Dew kind of like really take back the soda game. I feel like it was really popular for a while. Now it wasn't. Now I'm a fan. I remember growing up when they'd do the contest and you'd vote on the different flavors of Mountain Dew.
I don't remember that.
I do remember that. Whoa.
Like, I remember when you could only get Baja Blast at Taco Bell. Like, they did not make that in, like, cans or bottles at all.
Brand engagement pre-social media goes crazy. Well, I mean, also, so we know that Chick-fil-A has brought back their peach milkshake, which is a core summer menu item, but they've also added a new version, which is kind of dirty soda-esque, or I guess it's just mixology. They're combining it. It's called their peaches, and I'm not seeing the name, peach frosted lemonade. So they're combining fresh peaches or peach puree with lemonade and then also their ice dream. So it's like that, it's kind of like a peach milkshake, but like
Sounds
more
really good.
indulgent, and that's definitely something I would go try.
I don't even know if it would be more indulgent. I feel like it's just like lighter, like just
Why? Because of the lemonade?
yeah.
Like more indulgent than a regular lemonade, less indulgent than a peach milkshake.
Yeah, because
right
because
in
it's
the
not so
middle.
heavy.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
where my head is going.
Yeah. Well, and I think,
Nice.
I mean, it definitely makes sense that we're seeing so many plays on lemonade. I feel like we see that regularly through the summer. But we know that like Sonic also just launched their sweet top lemonades where they're adding cold foam to like their classic, their strawberry,
Creamy lemonade.
and then I think they have a blueberry lavender, which feels kind of bold for Sonic, but maybe not so much. I mean, they're
don't know,
always
blue-
playing.
They're always playing, and I feel like blue is such a hot color right now. We kind of saw the foreshadowing that we were going to be like a bunch of blue drinks at the Oscars.
What?
If you look at the data from colors that people wore, blue has like significantly grown year over year.
Whoa.
Specifically this past year, blue was everywhere between the Oscars and the Grammys. And so that kind of like foreshadows all of it.
Do you mean baby yellow?
What?
I don't know. I feel like everyone's been calling out like banana yellow this season. I haven't seen anything about. I mean, I believe you.
No, I don't know. No, because I'm having conversations with operators about the color blue.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so we're having a lot of color conversations around blue. I think blue is also in full effect this summer, and so that's a great call out, Cali, because I was just talking about what color is going to be everywhere next year. So if they're like foretelling yellow now, then it will probably be yellow next year. I think that part of the reason blue is so popular is because it's a calming color.
Yeah.
And we all could use a little bit of chill in our lives these days.
Well, also, I have to admit, the only thing that comes to mind when you start talking about the color blue is like, it's cerulean. Like, from Dolores Prada, where she just hard corrects her.
Great shade.
Yeah,
Great shade. of
Great
blue.
shade of blue.
Look, and so I think that something that I've been working on as a project for an operator is, what does blue mean to the consumer? So when I say blue, what like flavor do you guys think of?
Raspberry.
Blue raspberry,
Blue raspberry?
Yeah.
which is super
Not
nostalgic.
blueberry. Does it change based on the location? So something blue at Sweet Green versus something blue
It does
at
change.
McDonald's?
It does, because, and I think it's interesting because, like, yes, blueberry has blue in the name. However, it typically shows up as a purple color.
Yeah, deeper purple. Yeah.
I mean, there's no true blue foods.
yeah.
Is that true?
It's true.
I know I was sorry.
No, it's such a good fact.
No, but
it's
also,
such a good fact.
I mean, and it's interesting because it definitely works in some cases and it doesn't in others. Like the other day I was in a bakery and I saw a blue velvet cake next to a red velvet cake and I was like,
yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I've seen that.
What was the flavor?
Yeah.
I would guess it's the same as red velvet. It's just blue.
Red velvet is chocolate
Correct.
flavored.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think they just dyed it blue.
the color theory of it all, was it dark blue?
No, it was like an electric blue, which honestly
That's
was
I've seen it. It's kind
off-putting.
of odd. It's odd.
which is
Yeah.
ironic because we see a bright red cake and we're like, delicious. But then like bright blue is like, no, thank you.
No.
So what other kind of trends are you seeing throughout the summer? What else do you think we're going to see that's exciting, Cali?
Well, on the same topic of the beverages that we're talking about, I think it is also understandable. Yes, we've talked about this through the season, but like I think we are seeing so many of these unique and exciting beverages on menus because consumers still want something exciting, even as we see a drastic drop off of not wanting those alcoholic options. So I hate to circle it back in that way, but like we are seeing a lot more mocktail menus, a lot more interesting flavors like our, botanicals and herbaceous flavors in mocktails. And even for consumers who want, this is a funny call out, but because I think this trend is silly and I have yet to get on board, but we're seeing the rise of mini cocktails. Have you guys seen this?
Oh, yeah, like teeny martinis.
Teeny teenies?
Yeah.
It just
Like something like
just
that?
feels right.
So
like,
Renee's sold.
yeah.
No, but see, there's like a practical reason for this.
Give her a
like,
teeny
if-
teeny.
glass.
yeah, 'cause what is it?
Like a port glass.
When you go to Guilt Bar here in Chicago, so like Hog Salt.
Okay.
So during happy hour, they do teeny martinis where it's either like a dirty martini or like an espresso martini. And the only way, the best, like if that martini is not like just like ice cold,
Yeah.
it's not as good. And obviously like when you have like a large martini, like it's gonna warm up and it's
Sure.
still gonna be good. So there's like a practical sense to having a smaller martini, and you can drink more of them too.
Right. I would rather drink 6 tiny martinis than
Like
two
three.
and a
Let me
half
ask you
regular
something
size
just out of
one.
curiosity because I've yet to see this actually on a menu. How much are they charging you for a teeny martini?
For the happy hour one, it's like $5 or $6 if I remember correctly, something like that.
It's like an ounce.
But wouldn't
Maybe
a drink
2.
at happy hour be that amount anyway?
Not in downtown Chicago.
We're like 8 to 10. Yeah.
The cheapest like happy hour martini downtown is usually like $12 to $15.
We are seeing more interesting mocktails. We want more flavorful variety that is not strictly alcoholic. Although the one call out I did want to make for cocktails that are to be expected this summer. Yes, we love an Aperol Spritz. Yes, we love a Hugo Spritz, but we've been there, done that. And what I saw coming this summer is the Sarti Rosa Spritz. Have you guys heard of this? So Sarti
no.
Rosa is like an aperitif that has flavors of mango, passion fruit, and blood orange.
Ooh.
So-
that sounds amazing.
I will
Yeah.
definitely have to try that. And it has like this pinkish color, which makes it Instagrammable as well.
Yum.
Yum.
So we talked about a lot of different trends, those different flavors we're seeing. So I think let's go to our recipe lab.
Yeah.
And I think we've all provided a lot of direction here. But Cameron, you are our beverage
Connoisseur.
Yeah, sorry. There was cats. Cameron, you are our beverage expert.
Yep.
So my question for you is, what is your ultimate dream, perfectly refreshing,
Nostalgic.
hot summer day treat?
Yes. Okay. We've been talking about lemonade throughout this entire episode. We talked about milkshakes. Obviously, we know that frosted lemonades exist and all of that. I have been wanting to play around with this idea of an Arnold Palmer milkshake for the longest time.
Oh my God.
Because if you think about it,
so
like
good.
tea already works with ice cream.
Yeah.
Like, and just milk in general. Think about like your milk teas of the world. Obviously, we know that lemonade and ice cream. Like, I am surprised that I have yet to see an operator actually, like, I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, it sounds like a missed opportunity. I do have a question for you on this, though. I like this idea a lot. Are you just going like traditional Arnold Palmer milkshake? Or
when you say,
or
when you
like,
say
are we
that,
doing like a flavored tea, like
And
a
passion fruit
flavored
Arnold Palmer
lemonade
milkshake
We
with
could-
caramel.
So that could definitely be explored.
What?
However, when I think of summer, I think nostalgic and I think classic. So I
Okay.
think there has it.
We gotta start with the OG.
Yeah, we gotta start with the OG.
We gotta scratch the itch in Cameron's brain.
Yes.
Okay.
Because again, the fact that we haven't seen an operator do this yet, or at least to my knowledge, is crazy to me. Especially like I think my mind immediately goes to like Shake Shack. We were talking about them.
Yeah.
They do all of these really cool milkshakes.
Yeah.
And they do they already have like I believe it's trademarked for them for their Arnold Palmer. They call it a 50-50, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
And they've done a lemonade milkshake and they've done a milk tea milkshake.
Yeah. So like I want this to be a thing.
I don't know if I know the answer to this off the top of my head, but maybe you guys do. I know that Chick-fil-A in the past has done like their proprietary Arnold Palmer, which they call Sunjoy, if I'm not mistaken. But have they done like a frosted one? Would you?
Oh no.
I don't think so. I think because frosted lemonades are relatively new to the platform, right?
Yeah.
In the last like 3 years. So I'm sure they're talking about it. And it's, I'm excited for you to do this so that Cameron can call dibs on it.
Yeah.
Well, and so
You
here's
heard it
my
here
other.
first.
So here's my other and maybe final question about this. So if we're keeping it real, like standard traditional flavors, what would you say? Like, which component of this recipe, in order to kind of deliver on that like simple but really well executed milkshake, like what do you think is the most important ingredient?
I mean, all of it has to be like, I know it's kind of like a cop-out answer, but it's true. It's like your ice cream's got to be fantastic. It's got to be like really premium. Your tea has to be like a nice black tea. And then your lemon component also has to be really good also.
So are you going to make your own lemonade and your own tea, or are you going to like use
I've been thinking about how to execute this.
Okay.
It's been on my mind.
Okay.
So for the tea, obviously the milkshake, like we know our ice cream, we'll add a little bit of milk to thin it out. But the actual
Interesting. You're going to use milk and not
Cream?
lemonade and tea as your liquid?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to, because my fear is that if I just use straight tea and lemonade, it's not going to be strong of a flavor. So what I'm thinking is I will make a tea simple syrup, so that's pretty straightforward, and then I'll make a lemon simple syrup. So something that I've been seeing that people will do is that they'll blend citrus peel, zest, if you will, with sugar, and then they'll make the simple syrup with that sugar.
Oh my God.
So it is like jam.
So it's like infused Inception.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
so when we go to blend it, it would ideally be like 50-50, like we'll call it like our sweet tea like concentrate with like our lemon concentrate. We could just call it lemonade concentrate, if you will.
That sounds so good.
And then just blend it with some ice cream and top it with whipped cream if we're feeling fancy.
Always
and like,
feeling fancy. Always
Okay,
the whipped
good.
cream.
Always the whipped cream.
Always
I
the
agree.
whipped cream.
that's it.
Okay.
You know, I like it. I always hope that I'm someone who needs to be reeled in consistently in life. So I think you're right. You know, I've done a concept that's like a Arnold Palmer float, okay, with passion fruit and dulce de leche in the past. That's been really good. But I hear you, Cam. I feel like if we were to turn that into a milkshake, that is like doing too many things, and like it's too rich and it's almost like too much all in all. Whereas like something just hits in the way that like a classic Arnold Palmer hits, like is perfect.
Yeah, and I think like as we have been on the like as we've been doing this, like we've exercised our like culinary creativity like to the max, and I've had a lot of fun creating stuff. But like, and I think something that I've always harped on is like keeping things just simple and just executing it very well to where it's like it doesn't need anything else. Just let the ingredients kind of speak for themselves, and it'll be.
I feel like
great.
we need to start like a Cam's Recipe Labs cookbook. Because also out of all of the things that we've created this season, I will need you to send me this recipe so that I can make it this summer, because I will not be there to try it, but I have to have it.
Fly back to Chicago.
I could also do that. That's a bit of a harder ask, but
just add another city to your vacation tour.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Awesome.
But so we are breaking for summer. I think we all have some upcoming travel that we're headed to. We hope that our listeners are part of that giant percentage that Kelly listed of people who have already planned trips or are coming up on trips, or just gonna rot at the beach like I like to do all summer. So we are gonna break for a few weeks. We'll come back in September. Before we wrap up, I do want to give a huge shout out to our executive producer who is behind the scenes, Joe Bankman.
Yeah.
He is the one who makes sure we look good, we sound good. He is really the heart that makes all of the blood pump and go places.
What an analogy.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
I know. Look, I'm full of them today, you know? So... but that's it for today. If you are liking the show, please take a second to subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. If you're on YouTube, we love comments, so drop them down below, especially if you have content that you're interested in seeing.
Let us
whether
know.
That's exploration of a different segment, a certain cuisine, whatever it will, should, or may be. Let us know as we continue to plan for our fall semester, if you will. And if you're listening on the podcast app of your choice, leave us a rating and review. We are always hungry for feedback. And until then, keep it delicious.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.